Let's talk about the DNS. So, as a system design engineer, our responsibility that whatever the systems we are delivering, and finally that system are used by my customer, my client. Okay, and whatever the system I deliver and build, so that's are accessed by, that's are used by the different our client can be used the desktop machine, can used by the laptop, can used by the mobile or any instrument. So question is that how our client or customers are interact to my system. Okay, because these all are maybe your desktop or mobile, your computer, all are also a one device, one electronics device or machines. This is also one device, one machines. Okay, in the era of internet networking, in the networks, every device, whatever device we have, how to identify it? Hey, this my desktops or mobile apps, how to know where our systems are exist, where deployed, how we can access, because in the internet lots of applications are deployed, lots of applications are running. So the mobiles, the customer, how know which is the my system which I want to access. Customer needs some identifications, system needs some words. Let's keep, you think I am going to talk my friends, and you have a couple of friends, so you have to decide, hey, which friend I am going to talk. So how do you know? You are going to, let's, I'm going to talk to John, are you going to talk to Mike, I'm talk to the Sanjay. So you have some memorize the name to identify the particular friends which you're going to talk. Similarly, when a particular clients or mobile are going to access, are going to talk, make establish communication to another device, another software, another systems, they need to know some name. So in this internet, all the devices have some unique name. But in the internet, generally, the unique name for all the internet devices are given as a one numeric number. That is maybe IPv address, okay, like 10.2.3.64, right? So this is a number. So this number is very uncomfortable to memorize by the client. So it would be good, we as a system design engineer, we can expose some unique distinguishable name for the client, so that client know, hey, this, whenever you want to you want to go to search something, so hey, google.com, right? So you go search the google.com. So google.com is a unique name which you memorize, or facebook.com or twitter.com. Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, these are the memorizable words or name. So similarly, whatever the system you are develop, and now we are going to uh, expose or want, hey, now my system is ready to access by the client. So you have to associate your systems or your machine to the internet. So internet provide one particular IP addresses. So every customer might be not more familiar with memorize the IP addresses or particular mathematical number. Is it not possible we can make some mapping or some directory between the names and the mapping? Look like, let's, I want to may going to the call my friends. Okay, so lots of, we have a friend, I want to call that every mobile. have a some numbers. Every have a some number. Every have a some. Notice in my mobile how many my friends, the number I'm going to 10-digit number I'm going to memorize. Might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we have a lots of couple of friends where I'm going to make a call. So good option. What you are doing, whatever the mobile number you have, whatever the mobile number you have, with that you can associate your friend name. Hey, this is the John. This is the phone number for Mike. This is the this. So notice that this mobile numbers you are not memorize, but you easily memorize our friend names, our family names, right? So in the mobile number in your phones, you are saving, going to store the name of your friends or relatives with a particular number. So maybe you can forget the number, but you generally not forget your friend names. A customer, a client can easily able to memorize them, easily understood, identified them. Hey, this is my actual friend. Give a lots of number. Let's give a 10 number in your phones. So might be you are confused. Hey, this is my family number, my father number, my daughter number. But whenever you properly mention the name, hey, this is my daughter, this is my family, this is my father, this is my office, so you can easily recognize. So similarly, like our phone system, we have options. Hey, we have a name of my friends and corresponding mobile number. Similarly, in the internet, for the customer to easily memorize the device's IP addresses or unique identification number, we have some names. So generally, in a phone book, you are store your name. Similarly, in the internet era, where these names and the particular IP address mapping, that is come as a concept of the DNS. The DNS help us to make memorizable, simple English text-based name for my systems, my devices. So as a DNS stand for the domain name system. And this is a decentralized system that translates human readable domain name into the numerical IP address. So this is simply called a address book, or you can say address book, where each and every devices that are accessible on the internet, they have a IP address. They have a IP address. They have a IP address. Okay, they have a IP address. So IP address may be 10, 2, 9, and 7. Similarly, 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, maybe 4, maybe 5 dot, 6 dot, 7 dot, 8.9. These are the number. So this IP address might be you are very hard to memorize. So it would be good. Hey, this is the facebook.com, this is the google.com, this is the Twitter. So these are easily you can memorize. You know Facebook, you know Google, you know Microsoft. These are the easily human readable name. So this things is taken care by in the internet is the DNS. So sometime human readable name, also known as a your host name or domain name. Okay, so lots of terminology you can say, sometimes host name, sometimes domain name, sometimes human readables your name. So whatever the concept familiar, but the objective is this DNS decentralized system is that they are providing the mapping between a human readable domain name to the particular IP address of your computer or your device or your software or your systems. So let's understand some basic concepts here as we discuss domain name. Domain name is the string of the characters that identify the your website, your email, your system, your software, any online resources like example.com. The example is your string of characters. That is known as your domain name. Sometimes you can say host name, sometimes you say computer name. You can give the anything. But generally, computer name, host name for individual computer. This is my computer. My computer have a host name. My computer have a computer name. So whenever your computer is associated to the internet, Now they associated to the internet. Whenever now this is my device, my laptop are associated to the internet. The internet provide one IP address. Then you can give the some logical name. Those logical name is a domain name. Okay, and the corresponding domain name must be have some IP addresses. IP addresses can be numerical address like 192.0.2.1. These are the IP addresses also can be two form: IPv4, IPv4 or IPv6. So there are two versions of IP addresses. IPv4 have a limited range of addresses. IPv6 a very high range of addresses. Okay, but nowadays mostly all the old networks, router devices, many older systems are still using IPv4. So still in our domain names system DNS, our DNS is capable to resolve IPv4 address as well as the IPv6 address. IPv4 address pure mathematical number, IPv6 is the hexadecimal number. Okay, so you we'll talk later what are the IP addresses, but understand the unique identification name for your system. And these are the some basics terms we can also understand whenever talk the DNS. So we have some name server, some DNS records, and some DNS query again. So name server are a specialized server that store DNS record and respond to the DNS query. Okay, so whenever you say, hey, I need a example.com, so you are just firing one query. So DNS query receive the query. DNS query are requests sent to the name server to resolve the domain name to an IP address. So I say, hey, this is my domain name, I want to the IP addresses. So this is a DNS query. DNS query talk to the DNS, your name server. Hey, name server, this is a customer want to give a request. Hey, this is the IP address, or what would be the IP address for the given domain name. So domain server and domain record is the data stored in the name that map to the IP address. So whatever the name server are stored, all those information, what is the domain name and corresponding IP address, domain name corresponding IP address, domain name corresponding. So this is a DNS record. DNS record contain your IP address and map with your domain name. So these are the so first time you as a request client, hey, I have a facebook.com. The facebook.com received by DNS query. DNS query, hey, we receive one request from the customer. This is a facebook.com. I want to find out the IP addresses. So DNS query say, hey, talk to the DNS server. The name server. Name server is a specialized server that's receive the request and response to the IP address in the form of DNS record, right? The DNS record, nothing, the combinations of map of your host name as well as your IP address corresponding. So these are the specialized terminology. And if we talk about the DNS architecture, the couple of modules, a couple of components are interact to each other and meet the DNS system. So generally, DNS is a distributed systems, and in the distributed system, they have follow some hierarchical order. Let's this is the root, and root have a some child maybe, and child again some root. So they are implemented look like some hierarchical order. Due to that, say one is the root DNS server. Root DNS server is a top level name server. You can say DNS server or name server. The meaning is same, but this is the top level because the in a hierarchy multiple level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Okay, so similarly we have a top level domain server. Similarly, one is the root name server, top level domain servers as so TLDR, the server that manage the you can say DNS record for a specific like a domain maybe .com, .org, .net, .in. The lots of in domain name they associated the particular label, the label which you are the Facebook.com. But the top level you are going to access. not the root. Root is the just manage the top level, then subdomain, then subdomain. So these are the hierarchical architectures. And sometime we have a authoritative name server. Authoritative name servers are managed DNS record and a specific domain. So finally we have a one the name server, the DNS server you can say. Finally they are going to talk. Somehow we have to store all the mapping between the domain names and the IP address. So that's known as authoritative name server. That's have a complete data structure like a phone book, your phone book or directory book, you can say similar. And we have also some concept to recursively resolver, that because they have a root, then again tree, then again different label, then again different label again. So here we have one the resolver that resolve your host name with the corresponding IP address with a recursive manner, because in the tree structure, in the hierarchy structure, recursive means key the same patterns. Let's key for the first this is a root, they are not found going to the left, evaluate left. Okay, a similar work again they have to apply the right as well as again go to the. So this is known as recursive means the same operation we are going to perform again and again and again. So here our resolver generally play a role as a recursively. That means apply the top level, root level, not found, go to the top level, then domain level, then subdomain level. So in this hierarchy, our resolver is going to resolve whatever the DNS query. Okay, so this is the some kind of a top hierarchy you can say, right? So this is your root level, and after that we have a top level, up top level domain, top level domain, top level domain. Here top level .com, .in, .net, lots right now. And after that again top level have also again second level domain, second level domain, second domain, maybe another subdomain as well. So in this way, sub to subdomain, sub to subdomain. So in this way, the domains are identified. Your dot, Google dot. This is the AWS, Amazon dot co dot in. So these are subdomains. So that understand that DNS or host resolvers is the distributed hierarchical systems, right? And in this way you can say this is a tree, subtree, subtree, sub. Due to that, notice in the internet lots of devices associated nowadays. IPv4, IPv2, mobile, lots of mobile, everyone had some. So this the DNS is very capable to manage all the your host name with a different IP address, because these are the distributed node. Add more, because add more child, add more child, add more child. Here we can add more, you can say more and more top level, more and more top level, more and more top level. Similarly second level you can add more, second level more and more. Similarly subdomain level add more and more and more. Similarly sub to subdomain more and more. So now DNS is a distributed decentralized systems that are capable to map your host name or domain name with the IP address, even lots of number. Now you cannot nowadays visualize the number of domain nowadays exist, and the number of on the internet, how many number of devices are associated. This is very high, but still the one DNS system, decentralized system, are capable to managing all your domain name with your with your specific IP addresses. So this is very powerful system already exists, which are serving the internet. And these are some specific let's example, right? How they works. So let's example now you are at the here. Now maybe you are the tablet or mobile or laptop or server or any kind of application. Now let's say you want to go search google.com or facebook.com. So somehow our internet, the particular google.coms are IP address. This is the particular IP 173.94.115.10. Might be this is not memorizable. Might be this IP can change. So at least we memorize the google.com. We don't know the IP address, or it may be changed, right? So as a you are on the internet somewhere. Now you want to connect to the google.com because you don't know IP. So if you don't know IP, you cannot to make a start communication from your device to the Google server. So what the internet provider, whatever you have a internet service provider, your request first go to the internet service provider, and your ISP have a some DNS server. Then this DNS server are going to talk to the your root DNS server. Hey, and this root DNS server have a lots of top level, domain level, subdomain level, authoritative servers available. Through that, they can identify, oh, this is the google.coms are mapped with the particular IP address. So those IP address again return back here. These IP address return back to the client, and now client directly communicate to the Google server. So this is a very interesting. You are not observed while going to the browser and top write the google.com. So in this google.com, lots of activity internally. Our DNS, your IP, ISP DNS provider, root DNS server, and again top level DNS server. Lots of activity happen, and our browser, our system are able to find out particular IPL. Many times you notice you can type some incorrect the host name. I can say no data because the might be our root DNS server is not able to find the particular domain might be the particular IP address. Then you cannot access any website. Okay, so this is the way because DNS servers is help us to find out the particular IP address and the particular domains. And this is the specific different way to understand the same concept, right? So whatever the client you have, just you first request to their DNS resolver, right? Then here you can say ISP provider have a DNS resolver. Whatever the ISP provider you have, so that means the internet service provider. From which internet service provider you access, maybe Airtel, Vodafone, Idea. The way you are the lots of internet service provider nowadays. So whatever the ISP you have, they have a DNS resolvers, and they are going to redirect call to the your DNS system root DNS server, and root DNS server find out, hey, what the top level DNS server. This is our root server. Okay, root server have a multiple top level. So from your input request, they can identify .com, .net, .in, .co, what the. So they can find out, hey, this is the top level your DNS will. Then request go to the top level DNS server. Hey, top level DNS server, figure out what are this the particular host name which map, and then this top level server going to talk your authoritative server, because authoritative server where all the mapping of your domains and IP are stored. Okay, so now top level identify, hey, this is the our a particular domain, and now we are need the data where data is stored. They are going to talk your authoritative server. Now your authoritative server already have available your mapping between your domain name with the IP address. Now we can get the IP address. Once you get the IP address, and notice this all happen recursively. Let's see how, because whatever the diagram here, these are the your recursive call happen. That means your the you can say multiple iterations happen between that. First top level, then root level, then top level, then maybe top level, then the header. Finally this iteration completed, then you can say, hey, finally you can got your IP address, or might be whatever the domain name you pass that may not exist, the both option. So in this way, the flow, our complete DNS decentralized system work with the concept of DNS resolver. DNS resolver play a role of your recursive DNS resolver, or you can say ISP provider DNS resolver. They are going to talk the root name server, then to the top level name server, then talk to the your final authoritative server that have a DNS records, then DNS record they return. DNS record means your host name plus your domain name plus your along with your IP addresses. So lots of you can say terminology we talk here. Let's understand this. So you can say here maybe recursive DNS, authoritative DNS, DNS caching, DNS load balancing, DNS security. Because many places we are going to utilize this DNS for the different purpose as well as what happened. Let's your first request uh, go to the your ISP DNS provider. Okay, and again you want to facebook.com, again you want to same time different top different type of browser. So our ISP provider already know, hey, this is your host name and this is the IP address. So might be they're not going to talk to your root DNS name server, then the top level name server, then a server. Okay, they might be they are going to the cache data. So they are apply some caching, maybe some load balancing, some security. So at the DNS level, also DNS solution provides some additional capability as well as instead of only the resolving right now. So as we talk, the generally all the ISP DNS provider are follow the patterns of the recursive DNS. Means they are recursively involve the query to the recursive resolver to resolve the DNS query. So whatever your query have frequently asked, and finally like example, user type the example.com, so from their browser, and then browser send a request. So here you can send request to the DNS request. DNS request going to the our DNS IP resolver, and recursively they are going to resolve, find out the particular your whatever the web server you want, what the email server or online application system, what. So these are the recursive server. Even the recursive, they are very fast resolution. They also support the caching and also reduce the loads on your authoritative server. Instead of every time you're going to talk, hey, authoritative server, give me the host name of IP address for the given host name, because they are going to provide the concept of some cache. If the same request, same DNS query come, for DNS query already data they are cached and they are returning, instead of going to call again every request to the root name server, a top level name server, and authoritative name server. Similarly, your authoritative DNS, as mentioned, this involves whatever the query, and this is the name server that's finally they are resolved. They have complete DNS records available. User query to the authoritative name server and they can retrieve directly IP. So sometime use cases may be dynamic DNS update or load balancing. Generally, serial networks also use kind of a authoritative DNS. Someone can be custom DNS, can be, hey, dynamic is there are some IP address, not very static IP address. Maybe IP address can be changed depending upon the network configuration. So those scenario we have to our inform our authoritative DNS server, hey, now my domain name this, but the IP address now changed. So many places nowadays dynamic IP are associated to the all the devices associated with the internet, and the benefit is that they are help us to accurate and up to date DNS record, and that reduce the latency as well. Because this is a distribution system, nearest DNS server must be available your host name, and due to the dynamic IP addresses for the devices in the internet devices, so we must ensure that whatever the IP changes happen, our authoritative DNS name server must be aware that. And this is one of the very key feature about the DNS level is that they can also apply some the caching mechanism, right? So here, DNS caching just store DNS record in the cache to reduce the load on the name server. Instead of one times receive the particular DNS query for a particular host name, particular domain name, and this domain name identified. So our DNS cache is going to store on the local. So instead of every time they are going to the call the all the name servers to find out. Example, recursive DNS resolver use the cache record and like google.com, what are the IP address, and whenever next DNS query come for the same domain name, so they are not going to call again and again to the name server, just resolve from the cache as well as. This will help us to reduce the latency, improving the performance, reducing the load on the name server. And this is also make our customer feel fine because we are responding very fast to the client. Hey, this is your host name, this is your domain name, and this is your IP address. So that will improve the some level of performance as well as system. So even sometimes we can use DNS as some company use the DNS as a load balancing to distribute the traffic across the multiple server, ensuring the no single server is overwhelmed. Let's give you some company have a different domain name like uh, google.com, google.co, google.co.in. So at the top level, we can just load, distribute the user traffic to the different server as well as. So generally large scale, whatever the website, yeah, e-commerce platform, generally they are using the DNS level load balancing as well as instead of the your actual load balancer, yeah, application level load balancer. So this will improve your system performance and availability as well as, right? And sometimes you can apply some security checks at the DNS level as well. Some company use the DNS security to protect the against the DNS spoofing or cache poisoning attack. Something, so lots of security threats we can also apply it because this is the first request come from the user or hacker threat someone try to access. So at that level, we are applying some security check. So protecting against the maybe here whatever the cyber security or ensuring data integrity or maintaining the customer trust, because this is the very first point from where customers are asking domain name, and now we are going to finding the IP address, then giving IP address found, then customer going to talk to a server. So it is possible some security we can apply the very top level. Client first come on the DNS server, at that level we have to apply some level of security check. So that will, you can say, improve the security. Multiple layers of security going to implement, not only the API gateway level or load balancer level, even the DNS level also we can apply our security check, and that's protect our system against lots of cyber security threats. So lots of you can say powerful client technology available that help us to meet these DNS, because finally whatever the system you are going to design for a particular customer, might be you need to require some DNS. Okay, so might be you can get the DNS. My bind is also very popular open source DNS software, or maybe PowerDNS. PowerDNS also uses support the maybe DNS security, load balancing as well as. Very famously, or you can use the Cloudflare DNS. This is the cloud-based DNS service that provides the security, performance, reliable for customers. Many applications are industries are using the AWS cloud-based DNS service. That is the Route 53. Many designs are the architecture. You can think, hey, any request come, go to the Route 53. What is the Route 53? AWS name is Route 53, is the cloud-based DNS service that provide the reliability, scalability, very secure kind of routing happen. Even the lots of AWS also, Google also have a cloud DNS, Azure also have a cloud DNS. So almost the all the cloud providers have a support to the offer of the DNS services, right? And lots of industry you can talk. They are music, many. Let's talk about the Google. Google is a custom built-in DNS system as well as to manage its vast networks of domains and IP addresses. It Amazon itself used our own AWS Route 53 to manage the DNS for its cloud-based services. Now, notice the cloud-based services are offering lots of devices. Whenever you are scaling your system, lots of independent entity you are going to private entity, private instances, public instances. So lots of IP addresses associated. So our system must be able to dist- find out the domain name with a particular IP address where the call going to the route, right? Even the Facebook also use the custom built-in DNS system to manage the large scale networks, to manage the, because whenever any large scale application, they are going to launch lots of instances of the same server, load balancer level, application level, instance level. So they need a own customized DNS system that can recognize the customer request, customer domain name with a specific host name, a specific machine which can serve the request. Even you can talk the Netflix also use the custom built-in DNS systems to manage the content delivery networks and ensure that highly available content available, because this Netflix also have own kind of a, content delivery networks where the uh, all the videos contents are easily available near to the customers. Akamai also is a custom built-in system to manage the content delivery networks to ensuring that our contents are highly available for the customers. So overall, you can say DNS server uh, play one of the significant critical role, because this is the first overall system perspective. Whatever the clients you had, maybe you are a mobile desktop customer or any kind of customer, first interaction for your system, for your software are going to through this DNS channel. So if at the DNS level, we can maybe apply some security, apply some caching, apply some load balancing, traffic distribution that make a lower burdens or my actual load balancer or API gateway, or you can say improve our system security. Now one more layer of security at the DNS level, one more level of caching at the DNS level, one more level of load balancing at the DNS level. Okay, we can say we can distribute our the responsibility like caching, load balancing, security at the multiple layer. So this is also very good chance and option for the system design engineer. We have to aware that whenever client going to interact, first always interact to our DNS server, because they know the facebook.com, google.com, linkedin.com, any of the websites or any application you are going to use, Instagram, anything, you are going to use a very human readable text string. And while the your domain name resolution with a particular IP address, at that times if we are able to stop our security vulnerability caching, so that will make more ensure that our system is very maintain high level of security, improve the performance of system is highly available or not available right now. Unnecessary maybe some unwanted security checks, you can violate the those calls that are threat related the calls, right? So let's please be aware as a we are not going to build any the codes or something, but as a engineering teams, we should aware, hey, TNS is the one place where we can configure some level of your security concept, some level of load balancing, some level of your caching, and ensuring that the right or intended request come on my actual software system. So hope this information is useful about DNS. Lots of times you use on the internet, but this knowledge might be helpful you to understand how our DNS server works. That's for the day. Thank you.